that one?
It's really competitive. I think with any of the teams that we've had a lot of success with, we've had a lot of big guys around. So, when I look at the O-line room, we have a lot of big dudes around. It's similar to last year. So, it's a good problem to have. But I just feel like everybody in here gets along really well. And we're, great teammates on and off the field. So it's been fun. Yeah, Steen is, developed a lot. I think when you look at him, he's just a physically gifted dude, man. He's a lot stronger, than what he was when he first arrived. So, I think his playing strength is starting to show, and I know he's ready for camp to start. And yeah, man, he's been putting in work, and I think you've seen traits of him where he can be a dominating player. So now it's just about doing it, trying to do it every play.
You had all these snaps next to him last year as well around this time. Do those help now? Can you kind of use that bank?
Yeah, it helps. And everybody's a little bit different as far as timing, but we have played some snaps together, and Matt Pryor's, we played some snaps together. So, I think collectively looking at our room, it's going to be an open spot for that position. So, but I'm confident with Steen and how he's played and the stuff that he showed on film.
Adjusted several different right guards over the last few years here. Jordan Lotto was telling us that that's not an easy thing to do. He gave you a lot of credit for being able to do that. What kind of goes into adjusting to the player that's been next to you these last few years?
Yeah, you just understand kind of the stuff they like in the game, far as, but for us, it's a lot about the relationships that we take, making sure that with every pass set, we're not creating a lot of space in between us and becoming susceptible to games and things like that. So I just think with as many reps as we get, y'all see it at practice, but, we go to walkthrough, man, we're running like 80, 100 plays, so, and that's a day-to-day thing. So, for me, it's about getting out the snap, and then, all the set lines we take so many reps with Stout, and, we're allowed to get in a rhythm and kind of get the hang of things. So, I think that and then communication. So I think we communicate really good, for our group.
Some of the big bodies in your room, Miles, Cam, Holland, you got a lot of young guys. Have they stood out to you at all?
Yeah, they're big. Yeah, everybody's big, man. But no, I think in the meeting rooms, when coaches asking questions, a lot about the offense, what is this, what is that, they're very smart, they're in tune, and they've been a lot of fun so far. So I know they're excited for camp, but just from when they arrived to where they are now, they picked things up really quickly, and so makes it an easier transition from here to camp.
Stout won a career achievement award last week. What perspective do you have on what he's achieved?
He wouldn't tell you anything about it. So, yeah, man, he's a remarkable person, and I think he's a great teacher at the end of the day. I know he's a football coach, but he's just a great teacher when it comes to football, things outside of football. And I think he has a brilliant mind and coaching philosophy, and I feel like he knows how to motivate different types of personalities, and he's really good at that. And I just think his intensity and passion for the game is, what makes him who he is.
You've obviously come off of two different Super Bowls in the past, a win and a loss. What have you learned from those two off seasons that you kind of took to this off season, which is very different each year?
Yeah, I just try to stay consistent with just my routine, how I prepare. And I know, seasons end differently, but for me, it's always, pretty much the same. As soon as the season ends, might take a week off, but really, kind of back into the routine. So, whatever comes, I feel like, I'm not going to bend to, how we played last year or, things in the past. But, for us, I think we just got to stay hungry. We can't be complacent. We can't be satisfied. And, it's really, about dominating the day each day, and it's a lot easier said than done. I got it as a present at the Super Bowl, so just has my name on it and a little diamond on there. So. Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's got one side my name, the other side the two Super Bowls. So, yeah.
You ever wonder what your career would have been like if you weren't with Stout for all of it?
Yeah, no. I thought about what would happen if I went to Miami. Kansas City would have been bad, but Jacksonville. But yeah, I actually got to talk to Coach Chung today. He was in the building, so he was actually there when Kansas City was interviewing me. So he got to see me from day one to now. But yeah, very fortunate to land here, and I just think the passion of the city and the intensity and how they focus so much on the sport. I think it allows, whatever pressure they put on you, I think it allows you to be the best player you can be. So it's something that you can really appreciate in time, and I know I have.
Stout in terms of getting all of that out of you?
Yeah, like I said, he's a great motivator, and I think with me, I didn't play that long, at the position, and so I didn't have a whole lot of negative traits. But yeah, I just feel like he's always been a great motivator, and he knows what to say, when to say it, and yeah, he's very good at reading the room and knowing how to get the best out of everybody and to get everybody to work together and to play hard for each other. So, and it's a lot of fun doing it. I look forward to coming to work every day and grinding out. I really do. I love it.
Yourself now. How do you rate yourself now versus any other point in your career?
Now I feel like even though I'm 35, I feel like I'm better than when I was 29, 30. I had the surgeries. And so the toughest year for me was the games that I missed in 21. You can clearly see on film, if you go back and watch it, I was very hindered with my left foot. So, and now, I feel like, I'm getting close to, maybe my peak. So as weird as it is to say, but, that's truly how I feel. So I don't know, maybe they need to do a combine for guys 10 years over, make them go do and see if they can see how they do compared to 10 years ago. Tom Brady did it.
What do you think about the idea to have a lineman, a blocker award?
Yeah, I think it's about 30 years overdue, but yeah, it'd be cool. So yeah, I think that'll be just some extra motivation for everybody.
Does not making first team all
retroactive
pro
awards?
What is
You
it?
deserve some retroactive awards?
Yeah, I need some past year awards. No, I mean I think like I said, it's a very motivating piece to have. I wish it would have been implemented a long time ago, but it's cool that it's here now. And hey, I'll be lying if I say I'm not trying to win it.
Not making first team all pro last year.
Yeah.
You talked about it after the year, but is that a motivator this time of year as you go into the?
Yeah, I think with anything you read, you try to change. If somebody has a bad opinion of you, hopefully you can get out there on the field and maybe change their narrative on you. So that's how I look at it. And so you just have more, do better stuff, be more violent. So I think something has to come out. And so for me, that's what it's going to take.
The summer coming up, O-line Masterminds is coming up. What has it meant to you to get that thing going into where it's grown to?
Yeah, no, it's been cool just getting players of the past, current players, college players, and now we're getting bigger personalities in there. Gruden's going to be there this year. So, I think it's just I think for a lot of players coming into the league, maybe they didn't have a whole lot of insight of maybe what a pro schedule is or what it looks like, how they train. And so I think a lot can come in 2 days of learning. For myself, but for anybody, whatever they are, coach or player, I just think having all those minds in one room, we really cover everything about the game, everything that's involved with it. And so, for me, I think it's cool to meet all these different players and see how they play the game, how they study. How they train, I think it's really, really cool to see all that.
Kenny Green is getting a fresh start here. What has stood out to you about him in his transition?
Yeah, no, he's long, he's strong, he has all the traits. He's still young. I mean, I remember being a young guy. It takes a couple of years for you to get into a rhythm and to kind of that pro mode. But he has a great opportunity here, and everything's out in front of him. And training camp's going to be a battle for everybody, but really a big battle at that right guard spot.
He's standing out to you like an edge rusher that you're going against, maybe?
Edge rusher?
Yeah.
Uche? Yeah, I remember playing Patriots really quick. I think he's very versatile, what he can do. Ojulari, I played against him and a lot in New York. And then I think Jalix, I think this is going to be a big year for him. He has all the tools. He's gained some weight, so he's really, I think it's going to be a really breakout year for him. And then, obviously, Nolan, he's still Nolan. He's still setting the tone. So, maybe he can carry a piece of what BG did for, all these years here, but, very similar.
Is it weird not hearing BG at practice?
Well, yeah. That's like my second practice I hadn't had him. And, yeah, it's weird. It's a weird feeling.
Patriots game in 23, what stood out to you about Uche?
He made a good inside move to only beat me. Ball was gone, but just really quick. I think he plays really low, you know, for taller guys. He can get under you if you let him, but, you know, I think he's great in coverage, you know, just a multi-tool player. So, you know, I think he's going to help us.
In 2017, it was arguably the best offensive line in the league then. And then last year, same thing, and you're the only starter that was here for both Super Bowl wins. Is there any pride in that?
Yeah, man, I think, you know, I'm very happy with how things have turned out. You know, but when you're in it, when you're still playing, there's always more to do, you know, more to strive for. But no, you know, looking back, I'm very happy with how my career's gone, the players I got to play with, you know, the mentors. And so, yeah, I'm very fortunate. You know, I don't know if I would be the same player or what would happen if I was with another organization, but, you know, this place has got the most out of me. And, you know, whatever time I have left, you know, I think, you know, I think we can still be very, very good. And I just, like I said, when you look at our room and the size that we have in that room, you know, when I'm one of the smaller guys in the room, that's impressive. So, and that's really how it is, man. They've done a good job.
Okay. Thanks, guys.